Hello and welcome back to RamsTalkPodcast. Another signing through the door. Dion Sanderson has signed for the Rams on loan from Birmingham City for the upcoming season. Eustace has gone to a familiar face. It seems to be one that he knows quite well. He's gone and brought him into 3 or 4 different systems now over his managerial career, but he seems to trust him. He's brought him to the Derby County, so we'll see. Very special episode, this one. For those who are Rams Talk fans, it's our 300th episode. So our guest, who I will introduce in just a minute, is on a very esteemed episode for us.
Hey, happy days.
We do. For those who are on audio, that was Tom Oxland from Everything BCFC, who's going to help us kind of get an overview of Dion Sanderson for those who don't know. So, yeah, I mean, Tom, it's a signing that Eustace is familiar with, and he's a championship through and through player over the last couple of years. I mean, the biggest thing that stood out to me was actually his age. I thought he'd been around the block, and I thought he's actually older than he is. But, yeah, kind of give Derby fans an overview of who he is, how he's been getting on, where he is at in his Birmingham City career, to why he's been sent out on loan. Obviously, Eustace has called upon his services again.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a bit of a Neil Warnock, Paddy Kenny kind of combo now we got going on, or even Cranchar and Redknapp. But yeah, no, Dion's a weird one, because I think when he first came in on loan from Wolves under Eustace, he was a breath of fresh air, to be fair, considering what we had at the time. And, we were sort of always mingling around the bottom sort of 8 of the Championship. He's quite quick. He's also very aggressive, which is positive and negative, as we'll get on to. But as for being on the ball, he's relatively composed, but he is also a bit of a confidence player. And as for his time at Blues, first season on loan, he was fantastic. Proper passion merchant, badge tapper. So, easily falls in line with the fan base. And then we signed him permanently. He had another good season under Eustace after that. And then Wayne Rooney came in sort of just halfway through that. And that was when things started to take a bit of a turn for the worst, unfortunately. After that, he just seemed to lose his confidence and was really, they point it out in the documentary, if anyone's watched it, he really struggles to keep tight to his man. And that issue continued, in his Blues career. Because when we went down to League One, we brought in Chris Davis. He looked like he was going to be one of the starting centre-backs. And at the time, Christophe Clara was benched, which is mad for me to even think about now, because he's literally the best defender we got. But he unfortunately got sent off very early doors in the season at Charlton away, and he just couldn't get back in the side afterwards. He'd been performing okay up to that point. He managed to work his way back into the squad in League One for a game against Northampton at home. We were winning 1-0. We were winning pretty much every game at this point. And then he dropped an absolute clanger, missed an easy header. It's fallen off his back, gone straight to the Northampton striker at the 91st minute, and he's bagged and equalised. Dion was literally virtually never seen again after that one moment. So, there's definitely a mistake in him, but I think there was pressure to try and get back into that squad, because he always wants to be a part of it. He's very much a team player. I think he'll be great for squad morale. But as for his Blues career, I think it started really bright, but unfortunately took a turn for the worse. But as we spoke about earlier, 25, I'm sure Johnny will be able to get the best out of him again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a player that has been doing the rounds on social media, that it's kind of has that affiliation with a manager, and we did joke about it at the start in terms of that kind of weird relationship that you might look at it from a transfer perspective and go, well, what's it for us for the transfer in terms of as a club, but Eustace seems to back him. Eustace seems to have something about that likes to something about him, whether that's his personality, what he does around the squad, what he's like on the training pitch. He brought him into Blackburn last year, got 12 appearances. Yes, whether they were the best or worst appearances, obviously the reason why he's now gone back out on loan is probably he hasn't been managed to break into the Birmingham City central defence positions. But yeah, what's the overall reaction over the last 24 hours to the departure from Birmingham City fans?
I think it's been a waiting game, really. We all knew Dion was going to be on his way out. It was just a question of whether it was going to be a loan or a permanent. I think you guys were interested quite early on in the summer window, which was no surprise to anybody. But obviously that didn't materialise, and now I think probably due to your own injuries and whatnot, the interest has sparked up again. And I think it's a good move for him because he is a championship level defender. Just because he didn't really get much game time in League One didn't mean he wasn't fit for the level. We just genuinely had an abundance of quality in the area, and he was just a bit unlucky. So I think John Eustace better than anybody to get his confidence back going again. And to be fair, once he's got confidence about him, I'd say Dion's probably one of the best defenders in the championship at times. Like I said, quick, aggressive, hungry. He struggles to keep tight to his man, but he can be a ball-playing defender at times. So, I think you'll definitely see the best come out of him again. And I'd be interested to see him partner with Langas. I think that could be a really tasty defensive duo.
Hopefully, we'll wait and see. I mean, we always look at and ask those who come on, what's their best position and what's their best role. I mean, I don't think he's strayed too far from enough. I mean, I saw some people on the rounds that say that he can fill in at right back, being a right-footed player, but I think he's predominantly a centre half. But I mean, what type of centre half is he? What is his type of role? Is he a no-nonsense centre half, or can he play out from the back? Obviously, he has got pace and stuff to kind of get him out of certain situations. But yeah, what kind of defender is he?
I'd say you can mould him into what you want him to be, but I'd say he's best as a no-nonsense centre half. He'll get stuck in. He'll do those sliding challenges that will get the fans on their feet, and I think that's where he tends to relish. He relishes a good atmosphere. If he doesn't feel like the crowd's with him, I think that tends to affect his performance. He can be ball-playing defender. You know, he tried it under Rooney and it wasn't exactly bad. But I still just think he's better off just getting stuck in and putting himself about and making a nuisance really for forward lines. He can slot into a right back role. I think originally he was a right back at Wolves for many moons, and then he played right back at Sunderland. And then when we brought him in, we sort of moved him into a centre half role. And he's never looked back. And I think he is more of a centre half. He does have the odd headed goal in him as well. He scored a cracker against West Brom, which won't be forgotten in a hurry because he literally ran to the away end and he was giving it the Zulu sign.
Yeah.
And big respect for that. I think he earned himself in a bit of folklore there. But as for Dion himself, you just got to get him confident. You get him confident, he'll be one of your best defenders.
Interesting. I mean, we talk about what their finest moments were back from their parent club, and one that I picked out for when I put a post out about the transfer was that header at West Brom. Would you say that's his finest moment in a blue shirt, or is there anything else that stood out over his time there that kind of sticks out in your head and go, that's what fans remember? Or do you reckon that goal was up there?
Do you know what? It's a weird one, really, because I'd say there's a couple. I'd probably say two of them were in the same game, that West Brom header. And then I remember they were running through on goal virtually one-on-one in the first half, and Dion's just somehow managed to bolt it back, and he goes in for this cracking tackle just on the edge of the box, and it's perfect. Gets it out for a throw, and he's turning around, give it the big one to the fans because they'd just sort of gone through a lull spell of West Brom having a lot of the ball, and he can change the game like that. He's one of those players that can have those one-off moments that can really swing the momentum of a game. And those types of days out stand out for me. Those are probably your main ones, really. I think that was like the only goal he actually scored for us. But other than that, I just always quite liked his energy on an away day. He's always trying to get the fans up and play to the atmosphere, and that's just the type of person he is. And you'll definitely get that out of him. It's a shame you don't have Forest in the division anymore. Otherwise, I'm telling you, he play a blinder. He steps up for those big games. I'm sure you'll probably see him step up against the likes of Cov and Leicester. They're a bit more local for you, but he definitely relishes those atmospheres. Even us, to be fair.
Yeah, and that probably says more about him as a person as well as a player. He plays for the badge, whoever he's playing for, and kind of gives everything 100%. I mean, from what you've seen on club social media? Obviously, I have watched a couple of episodes of the documentary. I haven't really quite seen him on there, but I mean, what's he been portrayed as, or what has he come across like as a person? Because one thing Eustace is trying to pride himself on is good people as well as good players, and kind of fits in with the ethos and not upsetting the apple cart of the squad. But what's he like off the pitch from what you've seen?
Well, I'd say positive. He was quite regularly posting about Blues on his social media and always, held in good regard with fans and attending events. Came across, despite him being quite young, as a leader on the pitch, and that was why we awarded him club captain at one point. Unfortunately, that was stripped off him when he had a drink driving incident, which probably also kind of began the decline of his Blues career. And when he lost the captaincy because of that incident. And then, yeah, it's one of those. I think he's a leader on the pitch. Off the pitch, he's great for morale and atmosphere, but I still think there's that level of immaturity. And I think that's where John Eustace will probably come in his element and just be able to keep Dion in check. Like I said, he has the odd aggression issue. He's got a few red cards in him. So it's just having that right mentor. And I think that's probably why Dion keeps going back to John Eustace, because he plays his best football under him. And you get characters like that in football everywhere, but he's definitely one of those. And you get him in the right frame of mind, and if the team's going well, then you'll get the best out of him. And I still think the best is yet to come. He's only 25, not even at his prime age yet, really. So I think Derby will probably get a good season out of him and sign him permanently, and you'll see his best years, hopefully.
It'll be interesting to say he's got to have some form of resilience to go through personal things off the pitch and then still be able to put in performances under a manager like John Eustace. I mean, he's stuck by him. He's brought him into each setup that he's gone into. I mean, there are things that on the pitch he will need to probably work on. That's the reason why he's gone out on loan. He's not one of your main centre halves. What would you pick out in terms of on the pitch things he needs to work on for him to become that potential central defender for Derby County week in, week out?
I think awareness is probably the biggest thing. Positional awareness. Like I said, he struggles to keep tight to his man sometimes. He can get a bit lost in play if he's not on it. And I think, if you can make sure he stays in a structure and he's moving with a defensive unit, he doesn't kind of get lost at times like he has done previously, then I think that'll work out for you. But it's definitely that awareness, and also probably just that little bit of timing and that little bit of extra quality to be able to, time his headers right. And like we mentioned, that Northampton mistake earlier, but just that added sprinkle of quality and sharpness. I think sharpness is a big thing, really. And he's not. I wouldn't say he's probably had the best of pre-seasons with us either. So it might take a little bit of time for him to bed into that Derby squad properly, but I could see, realistically, I know Derby fans are quite happy with a sort of Matt Clark and Langas, but I could see Dion at least taking Clark's shirt off him at some point.
Interesting. And we always ask it at the end of the chat. Do you think we'll have to go off the loan in case anything else happens, but will this loan spell for Derby County be successful for Dion Sanderson, do you reckon?
I'm about 80% certain it will be, yes. Unless something honestly catastrophic happens and he gets himself a red card early doors in the season. I can't see it going too badly, so long as he's going to be with the right man at the end of the day. And he had a good spell at Blackburn last season, and Blackburn had a good season. So, it's evident that as soon as he sort of walks back in that fresh dressing room with a fresh start, he cracks on, and he did a good job back in the last season. So I don't see why he can't go and do that again, but for a full season.
Perfect. And obviously, at the end of this season, as it stands, he'll be returning back to yourselves. And obviously, if Derby fans want to hear about how he's getting on at the end of the season and stuff, and hear more about yourselves, where can they find you?
So for us, it's Everything BCFC. I'm usually a part of the Everything BCFC podcast. So occasionally you'll get a few episodes from us there. We've not uploaded for a few months now. Our first episode of the season will be just after the Ipswich game, where we'll be reviewing that, and then it'll be back to weekly episodic episodes, mainly just reviewing and previewing. I wanted to do a 1 to 24 predictions video, but unfortunately we couldn't get everybody involved in time, ready for before Friday. Everyone's got a busy week. I think if we were playing on a Saturday, we might have been able to do something, but sadly not. But one for you guys, I see Derby definitely getting, I'd say, top 12, realistically, probably top 10.
I'll happily take that, Tom. But no, appreciate your time. And as I say, they want to check them out, Everything BCFC. They do some great work. And as I say, thanks for listening. Please leave a like, subscribe. You know everything by now. We're on audio, YouTube, etc. And as I say, it's the 300 episodes of Rams Talk. It's quite a nice one to sign with a new signing. So that's great. And we'll be there, obviously, on Sunday doing a review for the Stoke fixture. But really appreciate your time, Tom, and we'll obviously catch up potentially in the season.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for having me.